Brass banding in the UK is in trouble. Play numbers have been dropping for decades. And for many bands, the old ways of doing things are no longer enough. So let's talk about what actually works. Each episode is an honest conversation about where brass banding goes from here. No scripts, just real talk about something worth saving. Welcome to the future of brass.
I was taught to play a brass instrument in school, and this was back in the 80s when you still had the option. And if I hadn't have had that tuition at school for free, it just wouldn't have happened because there was no income in the household to support that kind of thing. So from there, through school, I learned to play the trombone. I played in the school band, and then a bit later on I joined a show band and I played with them for 7 years. And then I joined various brass bands and ensembles. And then even then, people were looking for deps, and I ended up being a dep in several bands. And by about 1993, I'd completely burnt out from doing too much of it. And so I put the trombone away and thought, well, that's it. I've done that now. And I was into electronic music and looking into computers and all that kind of stuff. And I started to compose my own music. And that's what I do now. I'm a composer and audio producer, to be precise. So that led to that. And this is kind of the very sort of brief story, really. It was around about 2016, 2017, I started to see people on YouTube playing trombone and in bands and that, and I thought, I was kind of interested again, even though I thought I'd never do it. And it just so happened there was a local brass band called Flixton Community Band, and because they were around and I was able to join them and sort of go back into it, that's what I did. I went along and had a chat, and I just joined the community band, and that was 2017. So, here we are 9 years later. So absolutely. What about yourself?
Potted history, I started as a visual artist, but when the kids started playing instruments, which wouldn't have been my choice because I never did any music, but my partner's family was all very musical. Kids started playing, I thought, oh, this is great. As soon as I stepped into a brass band, I thought, this is the great thing I've been looking for. I was trained as a jeweller, silversmith, and I couldn't see a social purpose in jewellery and silversmithing, but I still have that creative urge. But when I saw the brass band, I thought, this is proper community social justice work that is happening all around us. It's amazing. And so in the early 2000s, I helped the head teacher of Hazel Primary School in Leicester set up a little band, and it's kind of gone since then. I've set up various bands. They've been all sorts of bands with different instruments and a fair bit of experimental stuff as well. But coming to Cumbria, I arrived in Cumbria along with COVID. I joined a band before I came here, and after COVID, we were down to about 7 people in the room weekly, and we had to do something, but we had no capacity. And I said, well, how about I use drum and brass to get my organisation, which is about music making, to get some funding to fund a training band or a beginner group. So that's what we did. And so that was 2022 we started. Okay. And now so we've gone up to, the whole band as a whole is now at 37 members on the books. Okay. A lot of those come on Fridays and Mondays, but we have definitely brought a lot of people new to banding, not just changing instruments, but new to banding, right. And I thought that was great. Then we've gone into looking at the problems of why people don't get into banding, and I had a little conversation with some band leaders who said, it's capacity. We haven't got the capacity to right. train young or teach young people. So then we started setting up little learner bands, little learner groups, but local so that people could get to them easily. And those have gone well, and we've probably brought over 50 people into bands over the last few years. Wow. So that's me, kind of using drum and brass in the service of brass bands. But I do feel very passionately about brass bands. Right. Sort of, they can fill a gap that schools really need, because there aren't enough music teachers around. Yeah. And schools have a music curriculum that they need to meet. And I feel that brass bands are potentially well placed to meet that need.
Did drum and brass exist before this, or was that as a result of?
Drum and brass has been going since 2015. My colleague is a doubler player in Leicester, and I'm a brass player, and never the twain shall meet. But we were looking at bringing communities together through music then, and we've developed over the years to focus on brass because it's just potentially so available. I say potentially.
Your drum and brass is a kick, is it? A community interest company?
Yeah.
So then I suppose you've set something up that supports itself financially.
Yeah.
And then you've sort of moved into an area that isn't really supporting itself financially that well. And by having your kick company, you've sort of
adding
managed
capacity.
to
adding capacity through that.
That's an interesting change of mindset, isn't it, as well?
Yes. And it's hard because in brass bands, you say, a lot of things are voluntary and some things are paid. And I wonder where the lines were drawn originally, because we pay for people to service or repair instruments. We pay for music, and we sometimes pay for conductors, and we sometimes don't pay for who drew the original lines?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? And then you've got this historic view that nobody pays for anything in a brass band. And that's the battle I sort of had, really. But luckily with the main organisation, they were quite receptive to the change.
Yeah.
But I can see that some bands wouldn't be. And my argument is, if you expect somebody to do it as a volunteer, you've got to find a really special person, because people are keen to volunteer, but as soon as they've done it for a month and it's got difficult and life's got in the way, that thing that they volunteered to do doesn't get done.
No, and also if you're always depending on people who've got the means and the time to volunteer, that's narrowing your people down. To possibly older people, which is wonderful because they bring like masses of skills.
Yeah, okay.
But also, I think increasingly people with income, and I think that's actually cutting people out that could bring a lot to bands.
Yeah, to me, I always see it that the mentality is wrong, and for it really gets on my nerves. For years, even in the other band I've played in, all you hear is people going, oh, you can't get the players. Oh, there aren't any trombone players around now. Oh, you can't get trumpet players. You can't get this player. Oh, they're not teaching them in the schools. Oh, the kids aren't interested. And you hear all these excuses reeled off. But the moment you say, well, what have we actually tried in this band? What have we actually tried to do?
Yes.
To see if that theory's right and disprove it.
Absolutely. I think what having drum and brass means we've been able to try things and ask questions. Why aren't people coming? Why do people prefer to do football and not music these days? Why do parents go a little bit pale when their child comes home with a great big musical instrument and they're living in a terraced house?
Yeah. But then there's things called mutes.
Yes, that's true. It's all
mutes.
These things are solvable.
Yeah.
But I suspect that 2 decades of underfunding in schools means that we've got a generation of not only parents but teachers who've not had the so I think teachers themselves are a little anxious about embracing music. A lot of the times because we go into a lot of schools, you say, oh, would you like an instrument? And they say, oh, no, thank you. Oh, gosh, no. Yeah. And that rubs off on the kids.
Right.
So then they will feel like, oh, no, it's not. It's something we might do in this classroom, but will we make the jump to the band room? Not so much. So that's the area.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, working really hard on is getting them to jump from the classroom where they love it.
Yeah.
Love it, to the band room where it's a bit of an unknown, I think, these days. Okay. They don't know what to expect.
Oh, you mean as before they go to a band room?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. So the classroom environment is
familiar,
sort of friendly and different.
Yes.
Familiar.
Yeah.
And then the band
room could be something completely alien.
Okay.
It doesn't appear on the television. It hasn't got a Gary Lineker. It's got no Walker's Chris. You know what I mean? I always compare it with football, but because coming from Leicester, we had all. That was the big thing.
Yeah. And then you've got my experience has been with the bands being stuck in their ways. And yours is now, you have an experience with teachers being in a certain way that
Yes.
isn't...
I think we're fighting it on all fronts.
Right, okay.
Absolutely. So bands, they can do more things in their communities, I think.
Yeah.
Like when you go out to a gig, engage a bit more.
It's a big topic, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's band pride. Bands are amazing. The skills are they're ridiculously high.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of bands realise how, or they might realise, but they may think that people out that don't do banding are equally as familiar with it and have just chosen not to do it. People don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. And when they do know, when they come into it, they think it's amazing and they love it and it's cool and it's...
Yeah. I think you're spot on, because I hear people say things like, well, kids aren't interested. But the problem is kids don't know about us.
No.
So how do we know that they're not interested?
They may well be interested.
Exactly.
I think we need to convince the families that it's worth being interested.
Yeah. But then you see the family might not be convinced, because the reaction I hear from people when you mention musical instruments is, oh, that's an expensive hobby, that. You need an instrument. And it is, unless you go to a brass band.
Unless you go to a brass band. And so there's a big selling point, isn't it?
But they don't sell it. They keep it quiet.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things we had to have a discussion about was the fact that in the marketing, I wanted to say that we charge £12 a month.
Oh,
and
we charge £12 a month as well.
do you?
Yeah,
Well,
for training, yeah.
Training, yeah. Well, for that, kids get, or adults, they get the training on the instrument, so they've got lessons, so they're ready to go into the band.
Yeah.
The community band, that is.
Yeah.
And they'll get an instrument loaned to them.
A top instrument, yes.
I mean, it's like, well, where can you get that for 12 quid?
Quite, yeah.
But if you're not shouting about it, if we're not acting like a business and saying this is on offer, and if we're not doing that, people won't know about it. And if people just don't know that we exist and they don't know how good the value is that we offer, we're going to continue in this decline, aren't we?
That's where I think individual bands can do it. They can break the barriers individually until that person with the energy and the vision is no longer there. I think we need something broader.
Yes. Or that person was a volunteer that then hasn't got the time to volunteer. Yeah.
So, yes, that's when we decided that we would try and network with the bands and put something on together that wasn't about competing, but it was about reaching new audience for brass bands. And so we started it was the Brass at the Castle Festival, and now it's the Cumbria's Big Brass Festival.
All right.
And it's workshops and it's training bands and it's, your main bands and some visiting bands as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That sounds really good.
It's
so
lovely.
Is it once a year or is that?
Once a year,
wow.
Yes,
okay.
yeah. But it's not about competing. It's about bands, giving bands a space to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And giving them a chance to talk to their audiences, their potential new players. Giving people a chance to try an instrument and meet their local bands. Yeah. Here's what's the band closest to you. There will be one.
Yeah. But then there's another problem, isn't it? You can't find them very easily. Because when I go on my trips in my van, I take my trombone with me. And I'm often thinking to myself, right, because I don't always get it out of the case, if I'm completely honest, but it comes with me, and I have the intention of doing a bit of practice. I usually do. But then sometimes I think, wouldn't it be nice if I could just drop in on a band that's open to people dropping in? But then when you go looking for them, it's so fragmented, the information's all over the place, or you find a website that's out of date.
Yeah.
And you send an email or whatever it is, and it's just hard to find.
It is. That's another thing we have attempted to do, is to put together a directory.
I noticed that. I had a quick look through your site.
Yeah.
Great,
so that's a nice thing, that it's a one-stop shop.
When you said attempted, did it not go as planned?
Well, it's hard to keep it up to date. That's quite a big amount of work. And when we're all funded for this project or that project, we haven't actually got funding for that bit of the work. So it happens when it happens.
Yeah. That, again, is another marketing project, isn't it? Because if nobody knows about the directory, you can't get people on it.
That's right, yes. Yeah.
It's funny, I hadn't, before I'd seen your idea, I'd gone and, or your directory, I'd seen a couple of others as well. But before I started to look for directories, after I put these couple of posts on Facebook, I started to think about this problem of not having a centralised list of bands and players.
Yeah.
And I went and bought 2 domain names.
Ooh.
So I bought bandmap.uk.
Yeah.
And,
An actual map.
It's just the domain at the moment.
Yeah.
But the plan in my head was perhaps there's an option there to create a map.
I think a map is a no-brainer.
Right.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
The challenge would be to get people to register, wouldn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that again is a marketing thing.
Yeah. And then it's like, where's the... Because obviously, I'm not all about money. I'm not really that bothered about money, but it's one of those things that you need to pay your bills.
Yes.
So
Gotta live.
Yeah.
And
so
it is a full-time job. Well, what we're doing is a full-time job for lots of people, actually.
Absolutely, yeah. But I always say to people, I'm a composer, so if I wanted to make more money, there's several ways I could do that than being a composer.
Yeah.
But I enjoy doing what I do. When I say composer, I actually work with a computer and I make full finished pieces of music and publish them online in libraries, and then I get royalties from those.
Are they like scores?
No, I don't do them as scores because I would like to do more scores.
Yeah.
But I just use electronic instruments.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'll do it all in the computer, using a keyboard. I play into the keyboard
Yeah.
and then sort of put these pieces together, produce them and write
awesome.
them. And then that's how I earn my money. So I'm not really madly focused on money,
Well,
but
you
like
must
I
be
say,
very good.
well, I've done okay over the years. The business is changing a lot at the moment, but that's a whole nother story. But in terms of having to do that since, the 2000s, really,
Yeah.
I've learned a lot of things along the way that are nothing to do with music. And building websites and promotion online and stuff like that has all been part of me building my own business. And so
Yeah.
that's why now, when I bought those domains, I know that me and my partner can actually turn those into proper
Yeah.
websites if we decide to. The problem is, it's where the revenue lies, because you can't, if you're going to promote it and you're going to run it, it's going to cost money to build it and to run it. And so...
I hear you.
Yeah.
That's one thing that we've talked to bands locally. What would you like? And they say, well, we'd like to know where the other bands are, but also, and that's how local people can find us,
Yeah.
but also a shared calendar. And it has the same problem. You need people to be inputting those bands. That's a lot of work for them as well. It doesn't just happen.
No.
So I've been thinking about that.
Yeah, it's a
too.
challenge.
It is.
Yeah, I'm not convinced we're going to do it, but we might try and build this map.
Yeah.
But it has got to have a revenue in it. But I don't see a revenue in the bands or the players because they will not pay to join.
No.
I don't think. I think some of them will, but I think that barrier will cut off most of them.
Because it's all voluntary.
Yeah.
And they don't have that kind of subscription-y money, I suppose.
No, and even if you made it really low,
Yeah.
I think it would still stop many people from bothering.
Yeah.
So to me, the only way that would work is if it was absolutely free, it was dead easy to use,
Yeah.
and it was really good. It'd have to really work. You'd have to be able to go in there and find a band and click on them and go, oh, there's a band.
Yeah.
What
do they need? When do they
when did they
rehearse?
practice?
Yeah.
Are they open to people dropping in and all that kind of stuff?
Have they got accessible wheelchair access?
Yes,
Because
that's
a lot of people need that.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got somebody that needs that sort of access in our
Yeah.
band. And occasionally the rehearsal gets moved to a place that's got steps and he can't then do the rehearsal. So, yeah, it is
It's
important.
a real issue.
It is, yeah. And it's quite often overlooked, I've noticed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. So the inclusion aspect is something that is really important, and it's probably best tackled by working in schools where you're meeting your local population as a whole, because it's hard to influence band culture without sounding a bit finger waggy.
Oh, right, okay.
I
yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've looked at working in schools is probably the best way to be inclusive and make sure we're thinking about those things as we go along.
Okay. You say you work through the schools. Is it hard to get into the schools then?
Here, we've had really good reception in schools. We started with a funded project. We offered tasters.
Right.
And then we put together a little programme that we offered to schools. And ultimately, lately, we started working with the Cumbria Music Education Hub. So they've actually funded those sessions with schools, which is wonderful.
Yeah. So before that, did you have to sort of fund the project yourself, going
Yes,
for like
yeah.
grant funds? And
We have done a lot ourselves.
Yeah. So that's a job in itself, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's being part of the community and knowing people, like such a person knows that such a person at school down the road plays in Appleby band.
Right, okay.
You know, and it's working like that.
See, it's like
Just
networking.
Networking, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a few, occasionally I've had people say to me, oh, you need to apply for, if you want to do all this stuff, you need to apply for an arts council grant and all that. And it's like, have you seen what's involved in these things?
Oh, you've got to be really good to get Arts Council. We pay people to do it.
I've heard that as well. So then you think, well, then, you know, and it's not small money that these people charge either.
No.
And then
no.
there's still no guarantee you'll get the money.
No. We've built up a good track record over the years with Arts Council, but it gets harder and harder. At least now we know exactly what we want to do, to build.
Okay.
It's like infrastructure and training for people and building this provision for young people that is actually, they don't have to pay for it.
Yeah.
But now is the time to do it, because before too long we'll have lost a generation of brass players who have those top skills, and there's a gap, a massive gap. Yeah, I would say there's a lack of people 50 and under.
The way I see it is we need the whole organisation. Not the whole organisation, it's not an organisation. They call it a movement, don't they? The brass band movement.
They do.
I don't like the sound of that.
No.
But that's another one of my opinions. But yeah, whatever we call it, to me, they need to start investing in the right activity. And you're clearly doing some of that right activity, but most of the people just talk about the problems.
Yeah. Yes.
But they're not talking about the solutions.
No. I mean, I think as well, we think we know the problems, but have we asked people what families who aren't involved in music, ask the average person, would you join a brass band? No. Why would I join a brass band?
Yeah.
And so there is a culture rebuilding to do.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah, I think you're probably right there. I mean, I think most people, I think there's a number of people wouldn't even know what a brass band was.
Yeah.
For many years, I've been told that people in my family talk about me playing a trumpet.
Yes.
You know, everything's a trumpet, so they don't even know what the instruments are. So I think there is that sort of divide now where people, and because they don't experience brass bands that often, there's no name to associate to it, you know.
And yet, on the other hand, the demand for brass bands to play at places huge.
Yes.
You could play
Especially
every week,
at Christmas. Yeah, you could, yeah.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't say much, would it, to get a gig every week?
Not at all.
Yeah.
No. And people enjoy them, and they love the music, because it's not all bands, marches and hymns. They love all the like quirky stuff that bands play.
Yeah.
Which is just so unique, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. In Urmston, where I live, I think online you can see there's about 41,000 people. Now, I reckon if you went and asked people, do you know there's a brass band in Flixton, which is part of Urmston, really? Most of them would go, no.
Yeah.
And so to me, if all of those 41,000 people couldn't not know, if that makes any sense, that we exist because they constantly see us on Facebook and out in the community, then at some point, everyone in that community is going to know that there's an opportunity if they want it.
Yeah.
And then I think there will be kids that aren't interested, but there'll still be a good number of kids that are interested.
Yeah.
And at the moment, they are there in lots of communities, but they don't know we are here, I don't think.
I agree. They don't know. And you know, even if you went for like 1%, that's still a good band, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The numbers are there.
Yeah.
And we've found it with adults. Adults are quite much easier to engage, I think.
Yeah, we have adults come through of all ages, so yeah.
I think adults are a little bit easier to engage, and yeah, we meet children in the classroom who are potentially very good. They're keen, and getting children to make that leap from the schoolroom to the band room is going to be our focus in the next year. And I think it's relationship building.
Okay.
We have to build relationships with families and with schools and head teachers and music leads. And actually things are beginning to happen around here, which is very exciting.
Yeah.
Very exciting. And organisations are beginning to collaborate more widely. And everyone suddenly wants to talk to each other. It's
That's
as though the doors have opened.
But was there a barrier previously then?
Yes.
Okay. And how do you get over the barriers? I think we've got
Right.
some of that going
I wrote
on.
to the MP.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I think he's been absolutely brilliant.
Okay.
And things have changed.
That's a good idea, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 It doesn't take much to write to an MP.
No. Yeah, they're interested. And the Music
Right.
Hub is funded by the local government, funded by the Arts Council.
Right, okay.
And what Music Hub's role is to make sure every child in the county has access to musical education.
Right, okay.
Every child has to have it. So schools having very few teachers with musical knowledge, and the ones that do have musical knowledge have great music departments, and the private schools have loads of music teachers coming in because they
interesting.
do get it. They know the value of
Yes.
music and the life chances it offers and the
Yeah. It shouldn't be like that, though, should it?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. But if we are aspirational for our young people, then music's the way to do it.
So if there's anyone out there thinking, how can we rejuvenate music in our area? I think the first step is write to your local MP, isn't it?
Yeah, say, what's available? What can we, yes.
If there's organisations and just individuals or small groups keen on making this, go forward and develop, then, the government should really help.
I think it's in their interests to have a creative thinking community these days, particularly with AI. We need people who've got flexible, resilient approaches to life, and definitely playing the musical instruments and what it does for the brain cells is that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And that flexibility it goes through everything in life, doesn't it? I mean, just being able to move a band from a failing state into a state where you've got an abundance of players. If everybody could have the flexibility of mind to come up with ideas, and processes to do that, then we'd be in a different situation.
It'd be good to harness some of the playing expertise and add a little bit of teaching expertise. And if bands have that, then they've got like a whole lifelong offer, haven't they?
There are those expertise in the bands. It's just, again, it's like if they're asked to volunteer to do something in their busy lives.
Will you run the training band? It's a massive piece of work, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's the big work in a band in a way. It's because you've got to work with all the people of different levels and plan how they're going to learn. And we teach from scratch, so we don't. All our players are not doing lessons in the side.
Yeah.
So it's that process of getting them through those stages. And it's a lot of work and planning.
Yeah,
it should be recompensed. It's good work.
Yes, absolutely,
it's community building, it's resilience building, it's mental health building. It's all of those good things, isn't it?
Yeah. So I guess then the question is how do we fund these things? Because a lot of bands haven't got any money, have they? Because I've bumped into a few bands on my travels in the recent years, and I've said, "You've not got a website. I can't even find you online."
Yeah.
You've got a Facebook page, but you updated it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So if they can't afford to pay for a website, where does the money come from to buy instruments and teach people? And that's another challenge, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah. It's really important. Where does the money come from?
Yeah.
And it can't come from the players.
No.
That's just not feasible.
It'd be very expensive, wouldn't it, I suppose?
It would be expensive. Yeah.
I mean, 12 a month is nothing. It's like a token.
No. It is, and it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be expensive because that pulls down the whole.
Yeah, that's another barrier then.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
I'm always keen on the fact as well that if somebody comes along that genuinely can't afford that shouldn't be a barrier. It should go for that on an individual by individual case.
Yeah, definitely. And for that, I think the funding is there.
Is it?
Yes, it is there. And I think there's some local government funding for
Right.
projects, community projects
Okay.
that are benefiting. They usually have a local plan,
Do they? Right.
and it has things like a great place to live, a great place to work, a great place to thrive. And if you can argue that your work is doing those things, which bands definitely do, I like not only teaching people, but also entertaining people and bringing the whole community together. It's like,
Yeah.
we should be on the national health.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. we should have millions in our
We
account.
should.
If only. So with funding, do you find it's there and easy to get, or do you actually need to get somebody on board that's experienced with it?
I think it's a bit of a skill. It's a skill that people learn. There is a whole industry in applying for, say, Arts Council bids, and the people are registered fundraisers. So there is an industry. But with a bit of common sense and our new friend, the AI,
Yes.
you can put in what you have to offer
Okay.
in terms of your ideas, resources, etc., and match that with the funding criteria and come up with something that could work.
Yeah, something that ticks the boxes that they're looking to tick.
Yes,
maybe.
yeah.
So it does seem we've got a lady called Pauline that has done some grant applications, and we did get one recently. It was like the tokens for Tesco's.
Yes,
Where people go into I don't know if they do it around here, but around
Yeah.
us they have like this thing with the 3 charities, and you get your tokens.
That's
and you
it.
put them
Yes,
in.
yeah.
And we got £500 from that, so we bought an instrument with that.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I think that connects you with your community. That's
Yes.
the key thing.
Yes.
Anything crowdfunding is fantastic, takes loads of effort, but it connects you with the people who you're working with, maybe, local businesses who are in your area, who might not have known about you.
That's it.
It's really hard work, but it's very good for local projects.
Yeah, well, with that, I posted something on Facebook about it locally, and I've got more to post on it as well. With all the activity, our Google position's strong at the moment, and so we come up quite high. And the same week I posted something about that, somebody got in touch and offered to donate a euphonium to us.
Amazing.
And somebody else last year that I know, he donated his trombone to us. His thing was he wanted somebody to make use of it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the community band could probably find somebody eventually to. We've got no one at the moment, but I think we've got 7 trombones in the storeroom. So, we've got a few anyway.
Just waiting,
yeah, for a victim. I mean, a person. Yeah. I think there's a call for trying to use all of those sort of options. You know, I've got pages on the website now about instrument donation, because why not?
Absolutely.
You know, even
why
if
not?
somebody donates something that's just scrap, it's still got value.
Yeah.
It's scrap value.
Or a flute.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great idea. I think there's probably a lot of schools perhaps with a cupboard of random instruments.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've seen a few over the years.
Right,
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think, ooh,
That's it. They need to be used, don't
an
they?
imperial euphonium.
Wow. Just sat there. And this euphonium we got donated, I believe it's quite a good one, you know. I don't know. I think
Excellent.
I can't remember the make of it, but I was told it's a reasonably decent one.
And I think people do want them to be used.
Yeah.
And I think over and above that, like that sensory thing of having a big, lovely, shiny instrument in your hands is really special, isn't it? And that's a lovely story for people that you can do this, you can have this and use this. And I suppose storytelling is what grant applications can be about.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's telling those stories
See.
about what will change if you pick up an instrument and join the band. And
It's interesting because I see your community interest company model more as, see, we're a charity, registered charity, but charities make loads of money in the UK, certain charities, but band charities don't seem to have that same thing. They seem to be stuck with certain patterns of doing things. Whereas you look at other charities, the bosses of those have been paid stupid amounts of money. And you think, I'm not really interested in the stupid amounts of money, but I just think there's something wrong where charities can do really well financially. Whereas bands that are registered to be a charity, they don't do anything with that to progress.
I think it's people are focused so much on the music, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're focused on the music, that's the be all and end all, but actually it's the tiny bit in the middle.
Yeah.
The real work is all round the edge.
Yeah. The kick company model, that's a good one as well, because as I understand it, you make money to pay for staff.
Yeah.
But I don't know, do you not make a profit? Is that?
You don't make a profit, you put all the profit back into the business.
Right, okay.
But you can pay the people who manage the business.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Well, it enables us to eat.
Indeed, and pay the bills.
Yes.
And I think brass bands need to become more of that model. Either the kick model or the charity models that work it as a business.
At the very least, they are small businesses, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are. They all need a treasurer. They all need a secretary.
Yeah.
Band manager.
Yeah.
Huge job.
Yeah.
They are little.
Absolutely. And the band manager
businesses.
job is normally a voluntary one.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be.
It shouldn't really, and it puts bands at a disparity with other music making organisations where they are. I think it kind of can hold bands back in some ways.
Yeah.
In terms of what they can achieve or what they can aspire to in the local economy. Like there could be quite a significant part of a local economy, couldn't they? Yeah. Employing work which is very valuable to some people in communities. Like you want to do an hour here, an hour there. Great. I suppose the accountability is hard, isn't it? When you're paying people and you've got that accountability and you've got to justify things, and maybe that's a big barrier for people who've been used to being a voluntary organisation where, I don't know, maybe the challenges aren't so great to justify the way you do things. I don't know.
I think it comes down to the mentality of the committee and the management team. We were lucky with the community band because it would have dissolved, I reckon. I said to them, if something's not done, whether you pay me to do it or somebody steps out from somewhere and says, I'll do all of this for free. If someone doesn't do something, I think it'll be gone in a couple of years because people will leave and, there'll be no one coming in and all the rest of it. And they understood that problem and they could see that, it was a problem.
Yeah.
And when I put a proposal to them for me to do the marketing and when I told them what I would do, they accepted that and said, well, yes, we can afford to do that. They looked at the finances and they looked at how much I could do in sort of 1 day a week and how much I'd charge. And that's what they did. And if more bands did that sort of thing, then we could start. That's the road to, I think we're still at the very beginning. And I don't know how long I'll want to do this for them. It won't be 10 years, I can tell you that much. But if I did it for 2 or 3 years and then we put processes in place that other people could then pick up and be paid to do, it would, it'd keep going.
I agree with things like the processes that are kind of similar. So drum and brass have put together some resources and they're like a quick guide to applying for grants, a quick guide to setting up a training band. What do you want it to do?
Right. Yeah.
Who's going to do what?
Okay.
And some of the thought processes that go into when you're managing a band. What's your band's aims? What makes your band unique to you? Those sorts of marketing-y type things. Yeah. But just a list of useful documents for conversation starters.
That's good.
And I think that if bands can get into that idea of actually we do have some serious purpose here. Yeah. We're not just some fusty old organisation. We're very dynamic and very relevant and very important. Take themselves more seriously.
Yeah.
Take themselves, be more out there.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, even just be proud of what there is on offer. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fantastic business person, but I have been running my businesses for decades, now. And just some of the things that bands don't do, it just amazes me that you've got this thing that's on offer that nobody knows about because you keep it quiet.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't.
That's right. And because bands keep it quiet, then when one band offers it, it may or may not take, because people kind of need to know what they're buying into.
Right.
So I'd love for there to be like some kind of like the Brownies,
Okay.
but for brass bands.
Right. Okay.
You know, with the badges and the you know, the activities where they all come together,
Right, okay.
and those things. It's not just the music. Oh, you know, who's got the librarian badge? And we've experimented with badges over the few years, and we've found that people like them, and adults also like a badge.
Yeah.
And it gets the momentum of the first few difficult years where you actually do sound like a foghorn.
Yeah.
But it's giving you those milestones of that this is what you have achieved.
Yes.
This is,
Yeah. So not like official exams or anything like the grades, but just a step.
Yeah. Little modules of things that you can collect
Yeah.
and achieve.
Well, that's what I'm keen on the management side of it. There wasn't anything set up when I took over. It was just you manage the band and that's it. And then anything that comes under that, which was everything, is done by that one person. So, apart from the stuff that the MD does and the tutor, they were like separate, obviously. But then anything to do with managing it was just my job. But what do you do? Where's the book of guidance, or is there anything to show me what the process is?
Yeah.
No, there was nothing. And so
How do you run a library?
Exactly, yeah. Our library was done by Wendy, who was the tutor, and she kept folders for everybody. Apparently, this is a thing where people turn up and their music is in a folder ready for them. And I can't believe that. How is one person responsible for everyone else's music? And then we were in a situation when I took over as a manager where every gig we did, someone had to take a big bag full of music folders for everyone to use. And I just stopped all of that. And it's just I've put processes in now so people can print them online and from the internet, from a Dropbox, basically.
Yeah.
And so I've modernised it.
Has it involved like a huge amount of scanning?
Yes.
Yeah.
That is the downside.
Yeah.
But then, having said that, once it's scanned,
it's there.
And a lot of the music you buy now comes as PDF.
Oh no, it's brilliant. It's much better, isn't it? Yeah.
So once you've got your main catalogue scanned, it's not an issue at all.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you lose a folder, you can actually just print off a whole folder to replace it, so it's not it's not a disaster.
Yeah.
So there's lots of benefits to it, really, and people now that are starting to use iPads and things to read the music off, use it to read the music off that.
Yeah, that's been a game changer for me.
Has
Running several little groups.
Right.
So many times I was turning up with the wrong music.
Oh, really?
So the iPad has really helped.
That's good.
Really helped, yeah.
They're an investment though as well, aren't they, you see?
They certainly are.
Yeah.
They certainly are an investment. And we were thinking, okay, well, what about if we had one for everyone in the band? 37 times £1,000.
Yeah, it's a big amount, that.
It's a lot, yeah.
It's the way it's going ultimately, I suppose.
And paper music is lovely to have, but it does crumple and it disappears.
Yeah. Yeah. Going back to the processes, I think they're vital. My aim is to create a load of processes, and then I want lots of people to do a small role. If it's a voluntary thing, which it still is, lots of people have got to do a small role for free, and then the manager's job will become relatively easy. It'll be more about steering the band and finding new opportunities for the band, rather than actually sorting out all the nitty-gritty, of have we got enough chairs for the gig, or,
Yeah. Role description. Yeah. We've got a few, and they are really useful, especially when it comes to the AGM and you want people to step up. Like,
right.
Okay, we've got this. This one's going and that one's going.
And they can see what's involved.
And they can see what's involved. They know what they're signing up to. Yes. Yeah. And that again, it is part of seeing bands as kind of professional little units.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Whether there's money changing hands or not. They are important.
That's it. But then at some point, I think some roles should have some money exchanging hands. But,
I think so too. And I wonder how much, where we sit in the value added in the local economy, it could be in health, couldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it could. Mental health, especially. Yeah,
mental health and breathing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm no expert in this field, but I do know that loneliness is a killer.
Huge, yeah.
bands combat that quite nicely,
They
don't
do,
they?
and you don't have to speak to anybody.
You don't have to, but it helps. But it's nice to be part of a team, isn't it?
It so is, yes. Yeah, I was never part of any kind of group until I joined a band.
So where do you think we're going in the future then with brass bands?
I think brass bands as part of the education sector, being part of the music education, that's what I would love to see.
Yeah.
But also having that whole life offer, which is unique to bands. So being part of what people do in schools, but also, you know, you can take it beyond schools. You might not be able to play for the school football team after you've left the school.
That's
but
true.
You know, you can still play for the band.
Yeah.
So that would be my ideal vision.
One of the things I noticed with brass bands is I've had people say to me, I wanted to join such and such a band, but I can't because there's no seat available. You know, they've got a set number of seats, haven't they? Do you think that is something that we might need to change in the future?
I think there should be more bands.
Yeah.
There should be more.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That would solve that problem.
Yeah, yeah, more players.
Yeah.
Enough players to fill all the bands,
Yeah.
and I can see people getting skilled up to start their own little ensemble, say, in their own little community.
Yeah.
And building that up into, you know, okay, when if a band's looking for a player, there's loads of players to choose from, or, you know, to apply for the post, or to choose a band that does this kind of work. They're much more working in care homes or more working in schools or doing proms, or there's some bands that go and tour the world. You know, bands for everybody.
Yeah, bands that compete as well.
Yeah. For those that like that kind of thing.
Well, I personally don't. I would never want to be in a band that does that.
I hate competitions, but I do love digging into a piece of music so deeply that you really, really know it as a group. But the contesting thing, we did one last week actually, and it was a great day out.
Okay.
Very, very enjoyable.
Yeah.
We went there for the wooden spoon, and we came away laughing, and it was great.
That's good. Where was that?
Kirby Lonsdale.
We've done that one.
Have you?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you?
We have, yeah.
We had a great time.
Yeah, we did. We've done it a few times now. I think 3 or 4 times over the years.
Right.
So we've enjoyed it every time we've been.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Well, this was the first time I'd taken the Friday band, we call it. We've been going for about 4 years, and I said it's an experience. You need to have it.
Yeah.
And I'm stepping down as the MD, after this. So we went, and people were really anxious.
All right.
But they did all have a great time.
Oh, that's good. I mean, I enjoyed that contest, but I wouldn't. From the sound of the other ones, I wouldn't really be interested.
I think there's so much disappointment built in.
Yeah.
Potential humiliation built in, potential, you know, and it's a bit like all the bad bits about football where the ref, you know, you blame the ref's got it wrong, wrong band got it, and it's, all of that takes the joy out of it. I can see it must be wonderful to win, but it's not for me, I think.
In my work, I use sample libraries. So what happens there is players are hired to play a series of notes over a few days, you know, for short notes, long notes. Really boring music to play, probably. But their expertise and their tone and their skill all goes into this library, and they get paid for it. And some of the libraries pay them every time the library sells as well, so they pay them a royalty. And there was a company called Fracture Sounds, and they'd done a brass band library. And so,
that's fascinating.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I bought that and started using that because basically I'm playing a brass ensemble on my keyboard then. But they did a video online with that, and I think I forget the name of the person that was doing the video, but he said, "Brass bands, we've got a wonderful hobby, but somehow we've turned it into a blood sport." That's what it does. Because they were talking about that. A very interesting video. Even if you're not interested in sample libraries, the video was worth a watch.
Absolutely.
Because it went into a little bit of the history of brass bands and everything.
Yeah.
I will put a link to that somewhere in the notes from this.
Definitely.
But that was interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is interesting. And I was going to ask you, do
Yeah.
you compose for brass bands?
Well, I have done. Flixton Community Band had a 10-year anniversary and they did their own show. So they formed in 2013. So 2023, we did our own show. And somebody said, oh, wouldn't it be good if we had our own piece of music? And obviously, eyes turned to me then, didn't they? So I wrote the piece of music in the style I thought would work. And then Danny, our MD, he helped with the scoring because that's where I don't sort of cross over. Because everything I've done is in the computer. So, it doesn't matter if I had that brass band library. I did a piece of music with that, and the soprano cornet would have been absolutely knackered by the end of it. But because it's on keys, it's fine.
Yeah.
So Danny did an arrangement of that. Because he's busy, we've not sort of, it needed some refinement. We performed it, but then I wanted to publish it. But it needs a bit of refinement, and we've still not done that yet. But recently I came up with a piece using that Fracture Sounds library, because the brass band sounds are amazing. They are anyway, but in that library they've really caught them really well. And so I wrote a piece with that, and then I played that on my phone to Adi, who's the MD of Flixton Band, when he was helping out with one of our rehearsals when Danny wasn't available. And he liked it, and he offered to turn that into notes. And he's done that recently, and I've heard the first sort of recording of it, and that came out quite nice.
Exciting.
So we need to sort of have a chat where we go next with it. Hopefully we'll get that published soon.
Yeah.
And I'd like to do more.
Yeah.
Because I write in a number of styles. So, and one of my things is melodies and counter melodies. So I seem to be able to just come up with them naturally, and then it's all the other bits that I find hard.
New music for brass, exciting.
Yeah.
I think we've probably barely scratched the surface of what brass instruments can sound like and do, and I think that they have such potential to do different things.
Well, the thing is as well, if you look at an orchestra is a very old-fashioned thing. But it doesn't sound old-fashioned when it's attached to a film. So, orchestras have done this thing where they've gone, right, let's do something different with this piece. Let's add 6 more trombones into the mix, Let's have 10 French horns. Hans Zimmer is renowned for doing this kind of thing. And, just absolutely massive brass sections in his music, for example. But orchestras have done this. They've always gone, well, what happens if we put an electric guitar in this? What happens if we put a synthesizer in the middle of it? And they've always done that, but brass bands seem to have stayed in the lane. You have a set number of instruments, and that's it.
Yeah.
And to me, I would like to see the future of composition for brass bands to introduce other things that you would not necessarily expect or want. Well, when I say want, I'm referring to certain, brass band people historically don't like to change things. I mean, the idea of putting trumpet in a brass band horrifies most brass band people.
Yes.
But I would like to go a step further and put, a full synthesized backing track into a brass band. Put an electric guitar, put a saxophone in the middle of a brass band. Why not? And if we can't do that straight away, and this is one thing I want to do with the marketing for the band. We've got our YouTube channel, and we've got a couple of sessions where players have come to have a chat, and they've done a little interview with Danny, the MD. Yeah. And then they've brought their instrument and they've done a little duet or played something with Danny.
Lovely.
And it's nice. But I want to expand that into, small ensembles. So, let's bring back the cornet player that did well and went on to university. Let's add a euphonium, a couple of other instruments, and a saxophone. Let's do something a bit mad. And let's record it as one of those sessions. And that's where, if I'm going to start doing composition more towards brass, I don't want to just sit down and go, right, I'm going to start writing for brass bands. I want to write for a whole sort of range of instruments.
That's very interesting. Oh, that'll set the cat amongst the pigeons.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, well, not surprisingly really, there's a number of people that are really interested in doing this. I think there'll be the people that aren't, and find it a horrifying idea. But then I think there's a good number of people that think this is something we should try.
Well, if you look at the percussion, that's where it all happens at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Anything, any kind of percussion, you can
Yeah.
pop in there and no one bats an eyelid. They think, ooh, ooh. But yeah, so no, I think that's it. I like that idea.
That's good.
Yeah.
When you say drums and brass, have you introduced odd drums?
We did a piece with a vacuum cleaner one year. Actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, that was fun. I had all sorts of strange household appliances in
good.
it. That was
Yeah.
really fun.
Right.
And we had a band in Leicester called the Brass of the Saf, because the Saf was a housing estate.
Okay.
And our drummer in that band was a dole player, Indian dole player. So that was a
right.
nice sound.
An Indian doll?
Dole.
Dole?
DOHL.
Oh, right, okay.
And they you know, like...
Yeah, I think I've got
Yeah,
some
high
of those
energy.
in my sample libraries. but
Have you?
I've
They're
probably-
such a great sound.
Right, yeah.
And obviously, like the Bhangra type thing with brass is a great thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can do lots with drums on their own.
Yeah.
You can introduce all sorts of things there. One of the bands I started was called the Magnificent Music Band, and that was for any instrument and any ability and any age.
That's interesting.
So it was just completely open.
Right.
Absolute nightmare to get the music
Yeah,
for,
very
like
much,
a
yeah.
lot of writing of
Yeah.
music. But it was good, and we did some weird experimental things. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I would still like to take John Cage, 42 seconds to
Yeah, I know
4
the one.
minutes.
Is it 4 minutes and 33 seconds?
To a contest, to an open contest. Awesome. So good.
That would upset so many people.
I would.
And you might get sued because John Cage actually, his estate or whatever, sued somebody for doing their version of that.
Have they really?
Yes, I'll
That's quite strict.
I'll send you the link, but we'll put it in the notes
Yeah.
as well. But yeah, very, very odd thing that somebody did their own version and they got sued. And
That's bad luck.
It is, yeah. And they said, well, it was different silence.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
it
the
was
whole,
weird. Yeah.
That's the whole essence of the piece,
I
is
know.
that the silence is what makes the music. Duh.
Yeah, but, yeah, it's just odd.
Yeah.
But it's interesting what constitutes music, isn't it? Really.
Gosh,
And
yes.
copyright, because copyright is I've been in licensing as well, because obviously with the music.
Yeah.
So I provide licenses to music.
Really?
So I know lots about that as well.
Yeah.
But
That's very an interesting area
yeah,
again.
but that's another podcast on its own, probably. So,
Another can of worms.
indeed, yeah, yeah. But I do find it interesting that the brass band world has usually got the same set of music, especially at Christmas. It's like the Salvation Army books seem to be the books, and I just think we seem to be playing with, in my mind, a relatively small set of music.
It will get smaller as well.
Do you think?
Bands get smaller,
Yeah.
the repertoire. I mean,
People won't do it, will they?
yeah.
But
We
bands
need-
aren't going to get smaller, are they? Because people like
No.
you and me are going to
yeah,
try and stop
gonna
that.
Galvanise it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
Make brass cool again.
Yeah, but I mean, brass is cool. It's just
It is cool.
It just isn't known by people,
Yeah.
isn't it? And this is what I say. If by doing these experimental videos with different combinations of instruments, somebody sees it that's 9 years old or something, and thinks, oh, I want to be doing that.
Yeah.
And that will happen, because that's how it happened with me when I went to my secondary school. I heard the brass band. And that was me. I was like, oof, I want to do that. And you had the opportunity to put your name down. And if that hadn't happened, if I hadn't heard it, then I wouldn't have known I wanted to do it. And I think we're in that situation now where a lot of people aren't hearing these things. Because, there's quite a bit of stuff on social media. But if the algorithm doesn't think you're interested in that, then you'll never see it.
No, that's right.
Yeah.
That's absolutely it. Yeah.
So, it's like...
We've got to beat the algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, if you looked at my feed on my phone, you'd see loads of brass stuff going on, and you'd think there was loads of it.
Yeah.
Well, that's only because the algorithm knows what I'm interested in.
Yeah.
But if you're a kid that's not looked for any brass band music or anything, you're never going to see it.
No, it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Absolutely true.
But what you might see is a video that went viral because somebody was playing some weird percussion
I've got
instrument.
something a bit quirky and a bit,
And it might have gone viral because loads of people were like sharing it, and you know, people in their network then might have shared it, and the algorithm, nobody knows exactly how it works, but it can pop popular bits of video in front of people.
Yeah.
You know.
That's so intriguing. Well, that's the future, isn't it?
Yeah.
To playing with that,
I think,
and managing that to the benefit of lovely brass instruments.
bandkind.
Bandkind. Yes. Oh, bandkind is a lovely word.
It is actually,
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, we'll see where it goes with the composition for me, but I would like to do more. But the difficulty I've got is I've got to see every composition that I do as something that could generate money, and that's a challenge. Because when I do my own stuff and I publish it into libraries and my own library, it can earn money.
Well, that's why you need to develop your creative talent grant from the Arts Council.
Yeah, well, I've looked into that, but I probably need to look at that again from my own point of view.
Yeah. I'm very excited about this being the first of these
Me too.
podcasts.
Yeah.
And I think it's really relevant, all of this. It's so interesting. And I'm wondering who you're going to talk to next on your travels.
Well, I'm open to talk to anybody that wants to talk to me. I mean, I suppose the only sort of script, if you like, because there's no script, the only script that does apply is the fact that this has got to be about people that have got ideas, maybe willing to think about things differently. But I don't want to kick out the older ideas either. I think there's something to be learned from the historic stuff from brass bands, and you know, the people that are still involved in them and have opinions. Their opinions are valid too. But I think just people that are keen to look at things differently and think, how can we make this grow again? You know, what does it need to? What needs to happen to make it move forward?
Yeah.
And then keep moving forward.
That's
Yeah.
a bold mission. It's a good job you've got your camper van.
Yes.
Trusty camper van.
Yeah. I'll be on a few trips, I think.
Really good.
Yeah. I think there's plenty of people wanting to speak as well, because I have got a list of about 6 people now.
Yeah. I don't think you'll be stuck for people who want to talk.
No, well,
about
that's good.
that.
That's
So,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully,
Thanks very much.
hopefully people listening will be receptive to it as well and get involved. So but it's been great to speak to you. So where can they go then to have a look at what you're doing and get involved?
www.drumandbrass.co.uk.
Okay, it's a good name, that, isn't it? Drum and Brass.
Yeah.
I keep thinking
People
of drum
still
and bass.
say they do.
Yeah.
They often say drum and bass.
That's it. Yeah, that's very good. Well, thank you very much, Julie. Thanks for your time.
Great to meet up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
You've been listening to The Future of Brass, a podcast from the Flixton Band organisation. Show notes on our website, fcband.co.uk.